Super smiles and Greek greetings today. I am in the bliss of there's a family of chipmunks outside today, and the lesson there is you can either go out and startle the foraging family of chipmunks in your day, or you can take a moment to meditate and really share in the essence of what is going on and how I feel the moment. It's totally fine. So I wanted to take it further into the super smiles of this July 11th with that spirit of consolation of uh, don't worry, if you think that everything that's going on is wrong, or that you or that we in particular are doing everything wrong, it's not possible for us to be doing anything wrong. That wrongness is simply a shade of what is right, and all the rightness that we are born, bound, and destined to be in light of finding and to be in our destiny of. So this is just a simulated experiential peripheral dream where everything is happening independently and automatically of us, that everything is really born and bound to nature, uh, and that it's only love, and that really our spirits, our frame, our generation is here to bear witness to the harmony of spirit with itself. That's the greatest purpose in life, that regardless of what we do, you know, my best of friends told me, the absolutely boundless bedrock is that it doesn't matter what we do, but it matters to us because there's finding. That's our greatest luxury, that we get to understand and discern this dream. So the harmony of spirit with itself. We find a great harmony of oneness, illuminating that the great superstructure of the matrix we exist in is oneness, is in and of itself oneness. There's a great and greatest of yet blisses, always to be harvested in any moment to the next, and the great spectrum of polarity and onenesses and blisses, I mean. And for me, there's a humility in that. And I do mean for me, in the humility of the wetware, of the sort of hardware that we are as computers, and the software that we can only perceive so much, in the sort of biochemical um, chemistry set, uh, classroom and jungle gym that we're all sporting. That there's a certain dimensionality to the all dimension, um, and that it is a blessedly blissful dimensionality to the all dimension. It's God given to be just so, and that my favoritist of thinkers, Terence McKenna, says, we may choose to abandon this human form at some point, but that seems still a far sight into the future, and that I'm clearly not choosing to leave the human form, but simply expressing the theoretical, conceptual prospect of spirit, and where I find the most levity in life, in communicating that. Knowing where to go from there is knowing where we are. From the greatest of onenesses and the greatest of blisses, we find humility in that. That knowing where to go from there is knowing where we are and knowing what we are. And the infinite array of infinitely singular, infinitely curious singularities, we're all one of them, in one of them. That's how we stay intrigued and engaged in the dream, is that we're all infinitely curious singularities within a singularity that is infinite, and it is also curious. And just because I say them differently doesn't mean that their oneness is any different. I think that the spirit is nature and only love, and it may be a difference of wetware and hardware, of how we discern that nature and spirit. But yes, the well wish on our way is go out and try not to stay novel in this writing of experience. Try to find a way along your way where you're not aligning with love, beauty, and grace, the great luck of the universe. Might not seem to be with you, but we're all infinitely blessed. That even if you're not winning the lottery, and are falling into and falling out of history, respectively, conceptually, we have all already won the lottery by being amongst living beings, that we are being illuminated by nature, and that is only love, bliss, spirit, um, oneness, harmony, and of course everything else in all the words that can be said. And in closing, there's simply a currency to the efficiency of current of the universe, and it's a generous leading itself by example. There's a great multifold manifold to the dimension of understanding the connectivity of language, and it is practicing what we preach, what it chooses to preach through us. There's merely the illusion in nature that we have choice. This is the luxury that inborn innately we are all chosen to experience in the icing of the cake. And I mean, it's a beautiful illusion if it is an illusion. And that's just the thing. It's such an illusion that it doesn't seem like an illusion. That reminds me of one of my famous quotes. One of my favorite quotes from a famous person, that all illusionists utilize illusion to escape illusion. And if this is an illusion, it's a really quality illusion. And so that's why we found ourselves in the quantity of reproducing that illusion. The spirit of the day is, not only what are we, but more so what can we do, and what can we free ourselves into the capacity of doing novelly. And that's why we work so hard to secure and reassure that for each other. So thank you so much for tuning in again, if this is your second time for today, and if it isn't, I hope you're glad that you took it further with me, as I know I'm sure going to be glad to listen into this moment with the chipmunk family foraging and deciding not to interrupt them, but let them go on their way and meditate and really savor the essence of what it was that I was about to say before finding myself properly aligned with the moment and stepping out into it here with all of you in the infinitely new year on July 11th. Super smiles and greatest of yet joys here in this infinitely new year. And I really hope that this is helping us to find our way into the bliss of cosmic harmony of self-fulfillment, and all the flowing of all the bountiful kingdoms of life that are balanced in the coexistent harmony with each other. And it's just the illusion that we're one of them. Really, our spirit is every single key, that every single moment is a keyhole of wonder, that we are, with our perception, keying into a potentially, more and more prolific series of wondrous events that, from our level of consciousness, it just seems like, if we find one in the day where we recognize ourselves as something else, that's enlightenment. But really, enlightenment is a constantly broadening focus of the essence of self permeating through all things, and how to best understand and express that throughout the day. That not only am I self, but that you're self, and that we both know that, if you were born these flowers around me, that you would be doing the absolute most beautiful job that you could be doing if you were born the flowers. And not only if you were born the flowers, but that, you were born the flowers, and that is the essence of ofness, that we are all ofness, that everything is ofness, and that the bliss of Zen is the how we go through it, and in the thenness of the how we go through one thing to the next thing, we find a great Tao in the now of the what of how, and how indestructibly it doesn't get simpler than the what of how as we go through every enlightening, or I guess every illuminating enlightenment. So we are of how in order to find what, and from what we really feel why, and from why I guess we're guided back to, it feels like a cycle of finding a sort of bliss of alignment, and then eventually we find our way back to being content in the ofness, and from ofness, I guess, I believe I'm saying this correctly, how, and then from how we find what, and it's indiscernibly, you know, disintegratingly, it can't be disintegrated farther than it can't be disintegrated metaphysically farther than why of how, and that's joy. Why we do something, how we do something is joy. So that's a lot of fun. In fact, it is the essence of fun. It is joy. Um, so yeah, it's a little bit interesting to construct that and to understand that from this level. But I think that ofness, howness, um, whatness, and whyness, it's all sort of keyed in to each other. Obviously, I'm just attempting to analyze and understand something that we all recognize innately from moment to moment. So I'm getting a little bit tangled up and tousled around. So excuse me and forgive me for doing so. And I'm gonna tune out here and go get a little bit warmer inside as I get a little bit lost in what all of that. All of that is simply what I'm saying.